If you could travel back in time, who would be the very first human you'd meet? Most people imagine there was one person who started it all, but science tells a completely different story. There was never a single first human. To understand why, we need to travel nearly 7 million years into the past. Back then, Africa looked nothing like it does today. Dense forests covered much of the land, but the climate was slowly changing. As the forests disappeared, vast grasslands began to spread across the continent. Animals had to adapt to this new world, or disappear. And somewhere in that changing landscape, the story of humanity quietly began. The climate didn't change overnight. Slowly, Africa began to transform. Dense forests slowly gave way to wide open grasslands. Many animals struggled to survive in this new environment. Every search for food became far more dangerous. But our ancestors began adapting in remarkable ways. One important change was spending more time walking on two legs. At first, they could only stay upright for short distances. Generation after generation, walking upright became more natural. Every footprint marked another small step forward. Those small steps would eventually lead to every human alive today. Food was becoming harder to find. Many of the fruit trees no longer produced enough food. Our ancestors searched for roots hidden beneath the ground. Sometimes they picked up heavy stones while searching for something to eat. Lifting those stones revealed insects and other small creatures hiding underneath. They also discovered that one stone could break another. Then something unexpected happened. A broken piece of stone had an incredibly sharp edge. For the first time, our ancestors looked at an ordinary rock in a completely different way. That simple discovery would change human history forever. Discovering a sharp stone was only the beginning. Soon, our ancestors began striking one stone against another. With every strike, sharp stone flakes slowly began to appear. Those sharp flakes became some of the earliest stone tools ever made. These simple tools made it much easier to cut meat from an animal. They could also remove tough skin and clean meat far more efficiently. Food became easier to carry home and share with the rest of the group. More nutritious food gave our ancestors the energy they needed to survive. Working together made hunting, gathering, and caring for one another much easier. But one even greater discovery was still waiting: fire. One day, nature revealed something extraordinary. A bolt of lightning started a wildfire unlike anything they had ever seen. At first, our ancestors watched from a safe distance. Then they carefully carried burning branches before the flames disappeared. They slowly learned how to keep the fire alive with dry wood. For the first time, cold nights became warmer and far less frightening. Many predators were reluctant to come near the flames. Families gathered around the fire, sharing warmth and safety together. As long as the fire kept burning, they carefully protected it day and night. But they still had one big problem. They couldn't create fire whenever they needed it. For generations, people wondered if they could create fire themselves. They carefully watched how fire behaved and tried to understand its secrets. They experimented with stones, hoping to create something new. Many attempts ended in failure, but they refused to give up. After many generations of trial and error, they finally learned how to create tiny sparks. Those tiny sparks were carefully placed onto dry grass and tinder. A gentle breath turned a glowing ember into a small flame. A small flame finally came to life. At last, people had learned how to create fire for themselves, changing human history forever. Once people learned to control fire, everything began to change. For the first time, they could cook their food instead of eating it raw. Cooked food was softer, warmer, and much easier to eat. Children and older adults could enjoy meals more comfortably. Families gathered around the fire, sharing food and spending time together. The campfire became the center of everyday life. Even at night, the fire brought warmth, light, and protection from many predators. With food and fire, people could travel farther and explore new places with greater confidence. Sharing cooked meals helped strengthen the bonds within their groups. A simple fire had become one of the greatest turning points in human history. Over millions of years, our ancestors continued to change, one small step at a time. Each generation was only slightly different from the one before it. For a long time, several different human species even shared the earth together. Eventually, only one human species remained: Homo sapiens. They adapted to forests, grasslands, mountains, deserts, and coastlines. Wherever they went, they learned to survive in new environments. They created art, shared ideas, and left stories on cave walls. By working together and passing knowledge from one generation to the next, humans continued to grow and thrive. So, who was the first human? The answer is there wasn't just one. Humanity is the result of millions of years of gradual change, and that incredible journey continues today.